Welcome to my home. And I would look, I was really suffocating. It's like, what's happening with me? I look to this, you know, like there's a...
The dial, yeah, the gauge.
It's like zero oxygen in my bottle. I was talking with my Sherpa. She's moving. She's like, no, she's on the rope and we're using the rope. That's why she's moving. She's dead. Today I'm training for my next goal. I'm going to the South Pole. I will be the first Lebanese woman, the first Arab woman, but also the second woman in the entire world to achieve this big challenge.
Hi.
Hi.
We look like we're at the top of Lebanon, almost the highest peak.
This is where I really found myself.
Why?
Because it was the first place I got in contact with myself. I found a little bit of peace at first, and with time I found joy. And it was something I didn't experience before during my childhood, growing up. And the mountains came at this, place in my life, and they just started to let me get in contact with myself. There's no noise. I don't use music while training or hiking or climbing, and I just let myself connect. The sound of the wind, I feel the sunlight on my face. This is nature, especially we are blessed in Lebanon to have these beautiful mountains around us. They changed my life. They are my mentors. They made me stronger. They made me discover my potential in this life, how strong I am.
You had a hard childhood, didn't you?
I mean, like many Lebanese, fleeing from place to another.
The 80s?
Yeah, I was born in the 80s. I come from a very modest family. We are 5 kids. I'm number 4. And my parents did their best, more than their best, to give us the best that they can. But you are in this environment. It's a survival environment. There is high level of stress you cannot avoid.
Take me back to a little bit of an experience of the war. Growing up, you said you had to run and hide and it was very difficult. Just give us an idea of the days when there was fighting, there was bombing, there was those moments in your home. What did you have to do?
I witnessed the war. I don't know if I lived it, because it is something that's happening to you. You are not part of it. You just need to react to it. From 0 to around 6 years. Although they think, oh, what do you remember from this? You were so little. But I remember the nights we spent in the bunker. My sister wasn't yet born. We were 4 back then. And my mom would run up from the bunker just to cook us something to prepare. We would go in line and my dad would put us 4, and every one of us would get one loaf. لا مش ربطة رغيف.
Oh wow.
So I remember going in line and waiting for the water, in the baye, to fill up the tanks of water to drink, clean water. These are moments you can't forget, and lines of people, and then the bombing and running down and the screaming. I've seen the port of Jounieh blowing in front of my eyes when I was maybe, I was 4 or 5. I've seen a lot, people running, shot, and it's 5 years old. These are things you think you forgot about, but they stay in you. And Until now, I'm healing and I'm going through my healing. It's a PTSD, and there's a lot of pain we didn't yet discover. Many of us collectively.
The repressed memories, trauma memories.
These are the memories. If I share them with my parents, like, how do you remember? خلاص ما خلصت, like it's done.
Over.
It's in the past, but it's not.
You haven't healed from it. If you don't talk about it, you will never heal from it.
Yes.
It's a very important process in healing, is to be able to share it, to get it out, especially with the people you went through that trauma with.
Yeah.
But
nobody talks about it.
And that's what's probably extending the trauma for so many people in Lebanon.
Yeah. There's so much pain, and generational maybe,
Yeah.
We are passing it from one to another through the generations without letting it go. For me, the mountains came, they chose me. This is how I always feel, and I really knew nothing about climbing or hiking. I have no cousin, no uncle, nobody in my family know what I'm doing.
It was a call. It was a calling for you.
It was, but I wasn't aware. I just went with the flow, and just being here, this is my healing started. This is where I started to be aware of things that happened in my life. And when you remember it, it's the start of the healing,
Let's go back a little bit more to your childhood again, that you had physical infirmity, you had some disability, let's say. Some sort of...
It's a syndrome, actually.
Tell us about that.
It's a hypermobility syndrome. But just so you know, I didn't have a name for it until 2017. In 2017, I was already a mountaineer, climbed 5 of the 7 summits on my way, to finish a big record on international level. I climbed maybe, 30 mountains around the world. And I discovered that I had this thing, with a name, which is hypermobility syndrome. It hits the joints, and I'm more flexible, so my joints go backward, and especially in the knees. And this for sure creates a difficulty in coordination.
What did you feel? How was it growing up with that? When did you first know? What age were you when you first realized you were different?
It was hard. This is what I can say, because the kids at school would describe me in a very the mfarkashe, because my knees would bend backward. And, it hits more or less all my joints. So all my joints are super flexible, my hips go like this and I go like this. So I can show you later. So I really didn't like how I look. And everybody would sit straight, and I can't. My knees, my legs start shaking. I don't have enough muscles to keep, because for me, what is the comfortable posture is just to be like this. And like this is not being accepted of anyone around me.
Did the teachers understand?
No, nobody really put any attention on this. But I was I was 12. It was very dark, phase in my life. I really was a lot alone, not loving what I have. I didn't even like to look in the mirror. because I was described as an alien. So, and why? There's this movie in 1996. Later, I will show you the video. I kept it. I even use it in my motivational talks. There's this video where the alien invaded planet Earth. And these aliens have their knees that flip backward. I really believed, I was waiting every night that I thought, oh, if I'm an alien, they're gonna come and get me. The spaceship will come. I really also didn't want to exist on planet Earth anymore. These are really dark, places where a teenager is going, and it's not good.
How dark did it get?
Very.
What's very?
I mean, very dark. I just didn't want to exist anymore.
Did you try?
I did.
What happened?
I still exist.
Did someone save you, or did you stop yourself from trying to take your life?
I think I just didn't succeed with my child brain. Maybe but I tried.
How did you try?
Maybe I took the wrong pills or something. But if I took the right pills, I wouldn't exist anymore. And it really, like today, it hurts because I just see the kids and I go to meet them at schools, and I was like, I talk about bullying and how it can be hard,
When you realized it didn't work, were you relieved? Or were you upset?
No, I tried again. You might be relieved that, okay, I still exist, because this is an instinct. This is the nature of human beings. We want to exist. We want to survive. I'm climbing a mountain. I want to survive the mountain. I don't go with the idea, I want to, khalas, I want to die in this mountain. But there's these moments that are super hard, dark moments that take you to a decision that you are not aware of. And for sure I was relieved. I love to live. I love to, I'm so grateful I'm here today. So grateful. The things I could see, experience, feel, like the
What do you say to kids and people who go to those dark times? How would you advise them to get through it? Because when you're in the moment, it's really hard to see anything good, right?
I can't say to them, oh, no, life is beautiful. When you are in this dark moment, and for sure you are scared. I was scared. And there's so much pain that you're not even seeing this small bit of light. I just want to tell everyone who feels like this from time to time, or there's a lot of people that loves you, even if you are not aware of this and this, you're not aware of this love at this very moment. And you are also courageous. And this tiny courage that you have, use it to keep alive. Life sometimes is painful, life sometimes is unfair, but we need to keep going. And for me, what really saved me is this. I felt loved by my life. This is how I feel when I'm in the mountains. And this is why I say mountains made me stronger. My mountains made me discover the joy, because, and maybe this is the first time I say it, and I get that vulnerable. I sometimes, from time to time, even now, I feel I don't want to exist when I'm in great pain. But I remember it's not that I want to end my existence on this life. I want to just end the pain, and I focus on the pain, and I understand the pain, and I go through it. And, you know, I found this stronger connection with myself. And this is where I started to understand how to deal with these moments. They still come. They will never vanish. And it's okay. We're going to deal with them. Everyone has, you know, challenges to deal with. And this is one of my challenges. And I hope the people listening, please take care of yourself. You matter. You matter. You matter to stay in this life. Even for the small contribution you are bringing, you matter. And yeah, this is what I remind myself every time I feel like that.
I have felt like I want to just turn off. Like I wish I would be able to struggle. I have been through periods of pain, suffering. I have contemplated suicide, but I never even tried to do anything. Just to make the person causing the pain understand how deep the pain was. But even in my life, with what I'm doing, it's hard and it's a struggle, and it's sometimes you just want to stop.
You want to let go. But this is where the courage come in, and I really believe in love. When you just feel the love, you know, like a teeny tiny of love, you just wanna stay, you know. And I believe also in our society, it's a taboo. It's something that you should not talk about. I feel also not talking about it publicly. Maybe my family will not believe me. I can see my sister, my parents, but this is beyond that. I feel today the responsibility to talk, to create awareness, to say you can be achieved, you can be very successful, you can be happy, but still suffer from depression, anxiety, and these weak moments, dark moments when you go and I have my support, I have my therapist, and you know, people see you climbing mountains, they think you don't have depression, but you actually I climb mountains for my mental health. This is my first priority. If I stop getting into nature, I will be miserable. And you know, I found this, and then the mountains showed me who I am, showed me the purpose of my life, put me in places where I would never even dream about. I'm just so grateful just to meet the mountain. You know, this encounter just changed my life.
Let's switch topics. Let's go to a happy place, top of the mountain. Let's start with Everest.
You started with my ecstatic moments. I never thought there's ecstatic moments in my life, but I lived it on top of the world. Being on top of the world wasn't just climbing Mount Everest. It was 7 years, Daizy, 7 years of hard work, of commitment, of training at 5 a.m., of determination, of wherever I am. I was, you know, studying, doing my PhD, moving around the world. I was just keeping this commitment to my 7 summits. even if when I was doing my PhD, I stopped for 3 years to climb the 7th summit, but I kept training. It's like, I'm doing this.
How old were you? From the time you started till the time you got to Everest, so it was 7 years, but what age were you when you started?
So I started in 2012. I'm today 38.
So solid. You look amazing.
Do the math, Daisy. Wait, so
28?
10 years ago. Yeah, so I was 28 and I finished after 7 years. I was in my 30s.
So tell me about the summit of Mount Everest. Because you achieved what only a handful of people have ever achieved. So many people go there, they prepare, they train for years, and they still don't make it up.
I'm so grateful that the mountain opened, their arms for me. Every mountain I climbed on every continent. And first, I do the thing, to keep going. Because the mind fears the summit. The mind fears the goal. When you're saying, there's the goal, oh my God, So to make myself excited, I do this trick. And I was like, I'm going to another camp. This is another, So in my head, I really believe it. And I continue walking, enjoying the scenery, not feeling, not letting the fear get on my head and let me get out of the moment. I stay in my moment. I remember walking on the ridge, the summit ridge. There was like the twilight, few stars, just shining. And this blue, this beautiful blue. I never seen such a blue sky. It's dark, but getting, lighting up. And then after the summit ridge, it took me maybe an hour. And then boom, at the sunrise, I was stepping on top of the world. And I was like, the Sherpa next to me is like, this is the sound. It's like, that's it? That's it? And he's like, what's wrong with her? Because in my mind, I was like, I just keep going, I keep myself going. It's like, just let's do one more step. Let's do one more step, It's not like, okay, that's the summit, khalas. And when I knew it's the summit, it's like, I made it. 7 years of hard work, 7 years of this, even fighting my doubts, overcoming my doubts. I had a lot of doubts. I stopped for a while. It's like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm doing this. It's hard. It needs a lot of commitment, a lot of training, a lot of mental preparation, and a lot of money. How I'm gonna get? I don't have that budget. How I'm gonna do it? Many didn't believe on what I'm doing. Many said, you're crazy. Who's gonna give you this amount to climb a mountain? $100,000. Why I would give you $100,000 to climb a mountain? Even my dad is like, who's gonna do it? I mean, with this money you can buy an apartment.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's a waste of time. This is what I heard a lot. This is a waste of time. What are you doing is, has no meaning. Oh, you love to climb mountains because, it's fun. You are a gambler. You just want to have fun. It's
You're
music.
not serious.
I really heard this from a friend. He said, wow, Joyce, you are smart. You use money of the sponsors to just go have fun and climb mountains in a negative way. I'm so proud that I can have, sponsors believing in me and backing me up to, to achieve
Something historic.
It's a legacy for Lebanon, for women, for girls. We can do so much through sports, through achievements. We can do so much.
How did it feel raising the Lebanese flag on top of that mountain?
Oh my God, I'm so grateful that my dream, my passion, huge opportunity and responsibility to raise the Lebanese flag of the world, of each continent. Like, how lucky I am. Because there is a message through raising the flag of your country. I'm so proud to be Lebanese. I'm just grateful to be able to do that also throughout my dream.
And the 7 years preparing, planning, struggling, fighting to get to that top. Interestingly, Lebanon has, Beirut has been destroyed 7 times. We need you to climb another mountain, Joyce, and help us rebuild Beirut, help us reclaim Lebanon.
It's our mountain, and this is why I'm not stopping. Today I'm training for my next goal. I'm going to the South Pole. From coast to pole, I'm traversing Antarctica 1,000 kilometers while pulling, all my gear, my equipment, 100 kilograms. I'm gonna spend in Antarctica 53 days so I can reach the South Pole and raise again the Lebanese flag. We cannot stop dreaming. Nobody will stop us dreaming.
Very different, this challenge in Antarctica.
Yes, it's an explorer.
Tell me about it. It's an explorer experience.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So,
why do you want to do that one too? What's important about that one?
So my goal is to achieve the full Explorers Grand Slam. Why? Because the full Explorers Grand Slam is the 7 summits plus the 2 poles. I just curiously want to visit the entire globe. I still have the 2 poles, but also if I traverse the 2 poles in the full length, I will be the first Lebanese woman, the first Arab woman, but also the second woman in the entire world to achieve this big challenge. And I want to take Lebanon there. I want to take my dream there.
What does it mean to you to take Lebanon there?
It means this small contribution to keep going forward. It means to go back to the schools and meet the kids and just tell them, believe in yourself. Don't blame anyone why you're not succeeding. Don't blame, your situation. Don't blame the environment. Don't play the victim. You are strong. You have it in you. You just need to give it time. You need to be to just put the hard work in it. It's not by, chance I just became good in climbing mountains. I spent hours of sweat on the slopes around us. Here. Nobody was seeing me. Nobody was filming me. I wasn't even posting on Instagram. I was just me, the mountains, and this drive I have, this big dream. I'm working for my dream. Every day, every step, I was 0.0000001%. I'm accepting this. Closer to my dream. I knew it. It's not going to happen tomorrow. I have a hypermobility syndrome. I knew it. I don't have the budget. I don't have the resources. I come from a very modest family. I knew it. That Lebanon is not in a healthy, situation where I will get the support from the government easily. I knew it. And this is good. You have to face the reality and work towards it. And this is why I want to continue. I want to come back with the record and visit the school, the university, the communities, and just say, look, this is who I am. This is my story. What is your dream? Please go for it. And these kids, these children, these are our heroes, not me. I'm just, I'm going forward in my life. I did what I did, but they're gonna do more. And this is my bet. So they can find big dreams and have the courage to go for them. And I feel this responsibility to pass it on. I feel this purpose inside of me. Many is like, why you go, who is paying your bills to go to these, it takes a lot of energy.
I know.
And I was like, God is paying my bills. I mean, I work also, but I always find the time to do this work because it has a big meaning for me.
I'm completely relate to your experience. You know, making the most recent film enough took 5 years, and it's still, we're 6-7 years now into it after it was finished. But the purpose still goes on. The daily struggle is still continuing, because it's not about making a movie. It's not about climbing a mountain. It's about the purpose of why you started this journey and what is the ultimate outcome that you're looking for. And, you know, you're inspiring and changing the vision and the hopes of millions of children around the world, not only in Lebanon, and adults too. And I want to educate, awaken, enlighten, the same thing as you. It's within us. The power is within us, but we have to believe that we have it. The victim has got to be put aside, because we will always remain feeling hopeless and helpless if we stay the victim. God has given us a skill and a talent and life. He gave us life. The most incredible gift is we're alive. And He wants us to contribute through this life an important message. We should never, even if we don't know what our purpose is, we should even just ask the question, what is my purpose? And I think if we keep asking it, the answer will come if we are silent enough, long enough to hear it, because I'm sure it's around every single one of us. So, yeah, the stories, the experience you're sharing is, I'm sure so many people can relate to it. But what you're doing for Lebanon, what we're trying to do, and others like us, are trying to just shed a light in a different way, and take us beyond the war, beyond the suffering, beyond the chaos, beyond the pain, and do something about it. We're doing something about it. In whatever way we're doing something, and that's the call to action right now for all Lebanese, in Lebanon and around the world, right? Wherever you are, you can make a contribution. You need to do something, and, you know, there's so many people who are, but I think we need many, many more people to do that.
And if anyone listening, they're saying, how can I find my purpose, right? I didn't know what I'm doing. Like, I didn't, you know? Like, I think the purpose is found by doing something you love, that makes you happy, following your drive, doing it for yourself at first. Do it for yourself. And when you are happy, doing something good, and you feel achieved, this is the course of any journey. You feel, you know, you do your dream, you make it, and then you turn as like, how I can use this dream, this big achievement, this joy I'm experiencing in any, like you, Daizy, in through enough, you know, and I'm sure you felt the same. And now how I can turn it for the service of my community, the service of the world, you know. So I feel, don't feel like stuck. What is my purpose? I never asked. I just like, I love the mountains. I want to be in the mountains. I want to do more of this. That makes me happy. And when I'm happy, I was spreading more joy around me. And when you spread more joy around you, your environment becomes more positive. And this is what we want to create, you know, to end the suffering, to end the pain, to start feeling empowered, you know, because happiness and positivity bring empowerment to yourself at first, you know, and then you can spread it to others. So we just wanted to talk about purpose because, you know, like, how you can find your purpose? It will find you.
Exactly the way you said it.
It will find you.
You just got to start with what you love. And then it just, more awareness and awakening comes to you, and you flow. You just flow with it, as you mentioned to me before. I just kept flowing.
Lebanon is the best playground for me to train. I need a challenging terrain because I don't want to go to my big expeditions not prepared well. I remember before Everest, I was living here for a few months, like between Antarctica and Everest, they were, one after the other, and training here, sleeping at 2,000 meters. This is really good for an athlete. Doing my intervals at this also altitude is perfect, and then I can climb up to 3,088 meters. It's so good because over 3 kilometers I can climb in altitude 800 meters, and I'm up on the plateau at 2,800, and then I'm at 2,800 and I can climb up and down 3,000. We have it's your turn. It's not just you're coming here to look at me training. Do you want to try it?
Let's give it a go.
Yalla.
Oh my God! So what's the trick?
The trick?
Yeah.
Just first, I'm running. This is a different level. Go just walking. These are 2 tires. The traction is higher. Okay. If you want, we can start with 1. How do you feel?
Let's try with 2, and if I'm
yes,
I'm useless.
Just start. In this sport, you need to use your entire body. You are pulling not just with your, for sure, the hip and the legs are very, very essential. Like you need strong legs, and I think you have them. But also, it's having the
movement.
Yes, the move, the shoulders. Yalla.
Here we go. Okay. It's actually quite heavy.
Yeah. Yes. No. Okay. So wait.
Okay.
Yes, coordination.
Oh my God. This is not easy. Okay.
Daizy, you're running. So if you want, as a circle, I am a circle.
Let's try one.
Let's try one because this is how I started my training. Yeah.
Okay, that's too
6-7 months ago, I started with 1. Try and see the difference.
Okay.
Yeah. Here we go.
It's keeping your balance isn't easy. Okay, I'm done.
Good job, Daizy. How does it feel?
Freaking exhausting.
But
How
training
long do you
harder.
train?
So I don't run all the way. So if I'm running, I would do 2 hours intervals, especially at this altitude. It's equal like to 3-4 hours because I'm training at 2,000 meters. If I'm walking for 5 to 8 hours, depending on the day, I would go slower. But now I have to train with the 2 because they create the simulation of
What you're doing.
Yeah, because on ice, the 100 kilograms and it's flat, it's a little bit different. Like it might slide differently, but also on a bad day, snow. If it snows or the ice a little bit melting, I'm gonna have the same feel. Where I'm pulling. So this is a great way. I was advised by international guides who are polar, like they are specialized in polar traverse. They advise this is how they train, and this is how I started training. Yeah. So I'm gonna start with the coast of Antarctica at an altitude of 600 meters.
Yeah.
And go up, like, okay, it's a long distance, 911 kilometers, but still, I'm gonna gain weight, and with 100 kilograms around me, not around, behind me,
Yeah.
and pull, with the days, after 20 days, after 40 days, this, I need to prepare for it, so I cannot go into a burnout. That's why, what is my only way to do it? Is training more, overtraining, in order to enjoy and to be successful in my expedition.
Did you train at all during Lebanon's winter last year? During this?
Oh yes, I've been training for the expedition for the last 2 years. And yes, this winter I did the traverse of the Lebanon mountain trail, starting from It in Akkar and ending in Merjayoun, 470 kilometers. And these 2 tyres did it.
Wow.
Application accepted, because such big expeditions are not like even easy to access. Okay, I want to do it, I'm ready, and then you have to apply for it, and there's a jury that check your curriculum in mountaineering and expeditions to see if you can physically and mentally handle such a big challenge, especially that you're gonna be in a very remote area in Antarctica somewhere with other people, and you need to be very strong and equally strong so we can lead this expedition together. It's not just, we are all leaders. Every member has its own responsibility to melt the ice, prepare our tent. So we have a lot of duties and we need to be ready for it. I got accepted. The down payment was paid by one of the sponsors. I'm very thankful and grateful for that. But until the moment, I didn't find all the needed budget. I keep going, even I'm like 3 weeks, before the expedition. I'm still hopeful. I still believe, because I'm ready, That's why, because I'm ready. I still wake up and train as if I'm going. But the reality is, it wasn't easy for many companies the last few years, especially in Lebanon. So it wasn't also easy for me to find the budget, the needed budget. But if not this year, next year, I'll continue. I'm not giving up on this. And if I'm not the first, I'm the number 10 or number 2. It's not about being the first or ranking. It's about making my dream reality. It doesn't matter if I'm from here or from this town. I believe in connecting with nature, and more time you spend understanding it, just spending time contemplating nature and connecting with it, you would appreciate it, you would want to protect it, because you just created a connection, a relationship. Like any relationship, like if you have a friend you just met, you don't appreciate this friend as much as when you have a more experience together, more time spent together, and this is the same with nature. And I believe every person who would spend more time in the forest, more time in just like feeling nature and connecting with nature, they would definitely want to protect it. They would definitely make it part of, who they are. It doesn't matter if, I'm from this village or that other village. This is for all of us. This is our Cedars. I'm so happy that you are here to me in the Cedars forest, Cedars of God.
Yeah.
This place is very, sacred, but it means a lot to me. And especially because there's a lesson I learned when I started training here. I would come, like walk, even during the winter. It's full of snow. It's beautiful, by the way. You have to come visit it during the winter. And, spring arrived. I was still training here. And then I was walking and I saw a very small, you know, like a plant, right? Like a very, very small, teeny tiny thing. And Malik, my friend here who takes care of the trees and he knows them well, he said, Joyce, look, this is a cedar tree. And literally, this cedar 5 years ago, it was teeny tiny. And you know how I felt? Like, for me, the cedar is something that with a huge foundation that with longevity, continuity. This is what it represents to me. And when I saw
it's invincible.
It is invincible. But when I saw this, you know, like this big tree, it started to be this tree, and now it's stronger. And look at it now. But it's like my dream. It starts like our dreams. It starts so tiny. It starts so, you know, weak, and anyone can smash it. Anyone, if we let them. But we can protect our dreams, let them grow with, you know, strong foundation. They become a cedar tree.
But they need time, don't they? They need time to build roots, to strengthen the foundation.
And this is what I learned. This was, you know, like a lesson for me. It's like I need to be patient. I need to just keep going. And 7 years are not like, you know, easy to keep going. And I'm still you know, I'm still working for my Explorers Grand Slam. And I always remember the cedar tree, how it started and I want to grow my dream to become a cedar tree.
Yeah. I hope that it really works for Lebanon too. It's the new dream for Lebanon. It's the dream I'm working for that I felt from so many Lebanese around the world. We have to plant new seeds and we have to take care of our new Lebanon, and we have to protect it but be very vigilant and just remain steadfast in believing the dream, not let it go when it gets hard, because there's a lot of people who don't want the new Lebanon. They don't want a beautiful, free and fair Lebanon. They want what they got because they're happy, but 90% of the population is suffering.
And it's about us to create the fertile ground to make the seed grow. So it's a combination. It's our work, every one of us, to create this combination. It's not just about watering your tree, you know. It's about also creating the good environment so it can grow in a healthy way and protect
it. This has been around for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Why don't we sit here and have a chat and tell me more? Yeah. Great. I want to give you something before we start this next interview. So,
Surprise.
a surprise.
I love surprises.
It's just something small, but I thought that you should be inducted into the Enough Hall of Fame. Join the club.
I love it. Thank you so much.
I'm going to put my T-shirt on. I'd love you to put your T-shirt on, and let's finish the interview like this. Yeah, let's go. Here we go. There's a lot we haven't talked about. There's so much to your story that I think the whole world needs to know. But I think it would take weeks to really dive in. But what's been playing on my mind and what I wanted to know more about was, you know, the family, who helped you get to where you are today. I know sometimes it's hard for family to understand anyone following their dream, especially when we're in this economic crisis and it appears that doing something physical and extreme and as courageous as you're doing is less important. But yet it's so important because you put Lebanon on a global map, and sometimes it's hard because they're fighting for their basic needs. But you're trying to tell a story to the whole world just by wearing that flag and doing something so incredibly courageous and difficult.
The family is a very beautiful but also hard subject for me, because the different family members dealt differently with my dream. And this like letting go and going for your dream is not easy to witness around you, because like, why you're doing this is a waste of time. Didn't you think about your future? You need to make more money and keep it for your. So these are my parents, because this is what they lived in during the war.
Maslow's law of basic needs, the security, the food, the shelter.
But this is living in fear. I decided to live in joy and to go for my dream. Although there's a lot of challenges and a lot of moments that are really hard to overcome. But who was there for me? George, my brother, and he's number 3. And this story didn't start with the 7 summits. It started long way, before, where George started studying at the university, physical education, the Lebanese university. And back then I was like 13. I remember he's like, oh, let's go to the gym, Joyce. I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, I was excited because going with my
bigger
brother, and he really showed me how to train and to use weight. Back then I wasn't aware that I have a syndrome. We did many training sessions together, and he showed me every bit of it. And then he took me to the swimming pool, and then I understood what he created for me as a training program was just perfect to help me build the needed muscles and to, let the syndrome not affect me anymore, and to be able to stand, to have to stand as a, like a straight posture. And
do you think he did that because he wanted to help you? Do you think he did that because his life, he watched you and he really wanted to help you?
George showed me scientifically that every discipline has a different training program. And this helped me, knowledge makes you more aware. It helps you to prepare better, to avoid injuries. And then, after biking and marathon and caving, I started also entering caves. But the really interesting part in this story, that George left Lebanon when he was 19. He left to Abu Dhabi, and then he left to Canada. But we stayed in touch. He trained me over Skype back then. So this is George for me. He was my rock and my support, my first support. And then from that support, I could grow and have more to reach out more people, and more people joining, this support system and believing in me and helping me out through, because you cannot do such a big achievement on your own.
Okay, what about the most difficult moment? Challenging. When you thought you weren't going to make it, or something like that.
The most difficult moment I lived through all the summits I climbed was on Everest. We were on day 50, around the 50th day. We were going towards the summit, that's it. We're going, it was around 11 p.m., dark, and we were on the fixed rope, going in the traffic one after the other, and then boom, I saw someone, like not moving. A woman who just got exhausted and fell. And on our rope, we had just to pass next to her. We had just to stay waiting for minutes. And I was looking at this woman. It was like, let's save her. I was talking with my Sherpa. She's moving. It's like, no, she's on the rope and we're using the rope. That's why she's moving. She's dead.
Oh my God.
And looking at this woman, Daizy, she had the same boots I was wearing. I had so hard time working, you know, for getting 8,000 meter boots for $1,200. It was so hard to get equipped with all the money. And she had the same dream like me. And she's there. She lost her life. Is it worth it? And for sure, this caused a panic attack for me I wasn't aware of. I had to, you know, I was like, so I emptied my oxygen tank.
Oh.
And half an hour or an hour in, we were on a steep place, very steep, just before the balcony on Everest. It's a landmark where we had to have rest. And I look, I was really suffocating. It's like, what's happening with me? I look to this, you know, like there's a...
The dial, yeah, the gauge.
It's like zero oxygen in my bottle. It's like, I reach to my Sherpa, he's in front of me, he's like, KB. And he's like, continue. We couldn't stop. There was no way to stop. It's a very steep, icy climb, and we are hooked on the fixed rope. If I leave the fixed rope, I'm in danger to fall like 1,000 meters. It's really life and death. And I continued. I took the risk. I just needed to continue these. I could see the balcony, you know, because it's really steep. I could see it, but I had to go. And I did. But I started feeling like I had actually no feeling of my hands. I started to feel a pressure here, like walking. And then when they said, like, I saw the balcony, I just fell on the floor. So the people who saw me, they said my lips were black. I was like, you know, and I closed my eyes. This is what I remember. I closed my eyes sitting like this. And the voice I hear in my head was John's voice, who is my instructor. John is saying, breathe, Joyce. You know how to breathe. Like, and I remember I started releasing, and I did until, you know, they needed like 10 minutes to get me, you know, hooked with a new bottle of oxygen. It takes time. These are moments, you know, you are in a really extreme conditions. And I wasn't aware that I was dying. I just kept in this moment, and I releasing until they gave me. And literally after 15 minutes of breathing oxygen, I was up, okay, let's go. And when I came back, I forgot that this happened. I started remembering maybe after a month. I was like, oh, wait. And a friend called me, he's like, do you remember at the balcony what happened? I was like, no, what happened? He's like, he showed me, not a very, like a blurry picture, because, you know, like, who would think to take, but I think he was like, I don't know. There's a blurry picture of me like sitting like this with the black lips.
Wow.
And yeah, they thought I'm gonna, you know.
How many days before you reached the peak
This
did that
day,
happen?
Hours. After a few hours, I was on the top of the world.
Wow.
This
Oh
picture,
my God.
you know, postcard. This happened. Even I look, it's like, how did it happen?
Wow.
It's just, so what happened afterwards when I started praying. This is what I remember. Praying. And I always do. Even before I was praying, when I saw, you know, the encounter with the lady who lost her life, I was praying all the time. And I kept praying until so it helps me. It helps me a lot to just stay in the moment, to not let the fear get into my mind. And it helps me to enjoy the scenery. And really, I enjoyed climbing the summit ridge. It was the most beautiful scenery I ever seen, you know, like the twilights, one of magical, you know. And I remember it. I was very, you know, like strong, but this happened few hours before standing on top of the world.
Thank you for this time with you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your vulnerability and your truth. Thank you for doing everything that you're doing for us, for Lebanon, for yourself, and for people who you don't even know. You're changing lives with every step you take, truly.
Thank you.
and every word you say.
باب للحياة نعيش.
In this era, it's not easy to find support, and there are so many charities.
I'm not afraid. First, we discover the disabled children who was not in the society. We didn't see them, and we were wondering why.
نحن هون عنا رسالة، مالنا قصة إنه أنا عم برجع أدي وظيفة وأترك.
Tell me the biggest miracle story.
The biggest is when we had this building. For us, these children and these youth are human beings, are son of God.
ثلاثية رسالة الزوجات، ولد، عائلة، مجتمع، لأنه بلا بعض ما بيمشي.